There might be something that can be a little confusing for audiences that is explained quite a bit in the film, but it could go over someone's head. So if Leonard can't remember that anything, how does he know that he has to take pictures of things? How does he know that he has to write notes down? Because every time he wakes up, he discovers like all these tattoos, and I mean, to him, there's just like a camera there, and there's just like pens there. How does he know this system? Like, because every hour or so, it's roughly maybe 30 minutes to an hour, or sometimes it adjusts.
It depends on how focused he is.
Yeah.
If he's very focused, he can remember something a little longer.
Yeah, just like Sammy with the insulin shot.
And it also seems like a bang triggers him to forget his memories as well.
Yeah, as well, exactly. So how does he know to take photos of people? It's not like he was taking photos of people before he lost his memory. What happens is he explains multiple times, repetition and routine make my life possible. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Eventually, he's done this enough times where it's just become just like drinking water or eating food or taking a shower. Taking photos of people has become such a repetitive and routinely thing in his life that he doesn't even think about doing it. It just becomes part of his behavior as a human being under the surface subconsciously. So that's why, even though he can't remember what he's doing, that's why he knows to take pictures of people. That's why he knows to write down notes that seem important for situations, because of repetition and routine.
Now let's talk about exactly the incident that caused Leonard to lose his wife and his memory. So he had no mental health issues, no mental disabilities until the night him and his wife were attacked. Now his wife did have diabetes, and he was the person who was giving her insulin every day for her treatments. And then in the middle of the night one time, they were attacked. The people who attacked her and them they are described as two junkies that were strung out that didn't even know that she lived with somebody else. They thought she lived alone. And they attacked her in the bathroom, and he managed to come in. He had a gun. He killed one of the attackers, but there were two assailants. One of them pushed him into that mirror, gave him the head injury. He no longer can make short-term memories. Now, the condition that Leonard suffers from is called, I got right here. It's called anterograde amnesia, the inability to form new memories after damage to the hippocampus. Now, obviously Leonard was attacked by somebody else, and because he suffered a brain injury and no longer could form short-term memories, none of the police would believe him that there was a second assailant. And also because he could no longer form memories, he forgot that his wife survived the incident. She survived the entire incident, and they lived a somewhat normal life until his condition.
They lived the Sammy Jenkins life.
The Sammy Jenkins life with the wife who wanted her husband back, and she just needed an answer. And the insurance claim investigator was investigating Leonard until the point where his wife couldn't take it anymore and gave him the final test of the insulin, where if he really doesn't have any memory anymore and he can't form new memories, I'm going to test him with the insulin every 15 minutes, say I need a new shot, and obviously she goes into a coma from an overdose and never wakes up. So Leonard is Sammy Jenkins. That's why he destroys Sammy Jenkins, and also he doesn't remember his wife surviving because he could no longer form short-term memories. And Teddy was one of the cops assigned to this case. He wanted to help Leonard find justice, and eventually they found the guy. That's that Polaroid, the bloodied Polaroid, where he's so happy he's pointing to his heart covered in blood. That was when they killed John G., the real assailant, who's just some guy. It was not this big conspiracy against Leonard or his wife or anything like that. And since that, obviously Teddy and other people have been taking advantage of Leonard's condition to help them solve problems for themselves. Teddy's getting a score from this guy, Jimmy G. It all fits. And so Teddy is using Leonard to make money and solve crimes and stuff like that because he's a crooked cop, you could say. And then Natalie's taking advantage of him. So the entire situation with Jimmy G, the bartender, the drugs, everything like that, the $200,000, that's all unrelated to the killing of the vengeance that they already achieved. And Teddy tells him, I thought you would remember. We did it. We found the guy.
I thought it would stick.
It didn't stick. You didn't remember. So I figured, why not just keep this going? Why not give you purpose in life? Because Leonard needs something to do with his life in terms of purpose. Otherwise, he doesn't see his life worth living.
And the finale of the film, what's interesting about the structure of the story is, so in a script you have a big act which happens in the first act, big event which happens in the first act, which sets the story into motion. Some big thing happens, and then the life of the lead characters or character changes, and they go on a journey because of the big event and catalyst. And then you have the climax.
So Fight Club, the apartment explosion is the example.
Big event. Matrix, the taking the red pill is the big event, and then you go on this journey, and then there's the climax near the end of the third act, which is the finale, and then the resolution happens after the climax. In this film, it's reversed, but also it works both ways. So the beginning of this film is the climax of the movie when he kills Teddy. The climax is the big event. So the big event is when Teddy reveals that we already killed the guy. You don't even know who you are. This is the finale of the film, but technically the beginning of the story. But it's structured to be the climax. And then the big event was the climax of the story, but it's structured as the big event.
And also, the opening of the film, not only is it the climax and ending of the story, really, but it's also a reversal. So the opening's really brilliant, where it's just the Polaroid photo that's reversed. You know, this is kind of like this opening shot and opening scene. It looks like it's from Tenet. This is clearly, obviously, when Nolan made
and then the gun pistol.
Yeah, when Nolan made his first film following, that's told nonlinear story structure, so he's starting to play with time. But Memento, he really got interested in playing with time, and opening a movie with a reverse like this is really fascinating. I've never really seen anything like this. Still to this day, nothing really compares to it. It seems like a scene from Tenet. You know, the bullet moving off the ground into the chamber of the gun, which is really fascinating, just like Tenet. So many times we saw that in that movie. And then the Polaroid photo becoming undeveloped as he's shaking it, and it's reversed because anyone who's a Gen Zer, these cameras are called Polaroid cameras. They were very common for a couple decades. Dad had so many of them.
We took a lot of Polaroid photos.
But they're fun because you could write notes on them. Now it's like kind of like a trendy thing to do.
It's
like
a nostalgia thing.
Now people get Polaroid cameras to take photos of with their smartphone. They take a photo of their Polaroid photo.
It's true. It's true.
And they'll like tack it to their walls and stuff like that. But this is like how a lot of people used cameras, is just to like for family events or whatever. But you could write notes on them, which is really cool. And just to reverse that with the development of the film shows also how he can no longer form memories. That's a great metaphor for Leonard's mind. He can, even though he can take a photo or make a memory, it's eventually going to fade away, just like the photo is fading away as it's reverse developing, going back into the camera. It's a really great metaphor for the entire film. And just like we say all the time with Nolan movies, he gives you the rules for his movies within the first act, within sometimes 10 minutes.
5 minutes.
He's telling you the rules of how the movie's going to play out. We talked about this in depth with The Prestige, with Inception,
with Tenet.
Interstellar, Tenet for sure. Within 5 minutes, just like The Prestige, the opening scene, he's explaining the movie, how it works.
Michael Caine.